Hello students, welcome to Stimulus Academy. We are very near to completion of our chapter Body Fluids and Circulation. Our today's topic is cardiac cycle. It is my request to you that you please watch the complete video and assess my lecture with the content given in NCERT book. Now let us start with cardiac cycle. But before we start, we have to understand some terms. That is systole. It refers to contraction. Diastole, it refers to relaxation. So atrial relaxation will refer to atrial diastole, ventricular relaxation to ventricular diastole, atrial contraction to atrial systole, ventricular contraction to ventricular systole, and complete heart relaxation to joint diastole. Now what we are going to learn is a sequence of steps in which the heart functions. Let us start with the heart in a complete diastole, that is, the heart is in a complete relaxed state. See, vena cava drains the deoxygenated blood into the right atrium, and as the cuspid valves are open, blood keeps draining into the right ventricle. By this, almost 70% of the total blood which is going from atrium to ventricle is transported. And this 70% of the blood transportation happens in joint diastole state. 30% remains. I will tell you later when the remaining 30% is transported. And further ahead, the semilunar valves are closed, so blood remains in the ventricles only. Similarly, oxygenated blood coming from lungs via pulmonary vein is drained to left atrium. And since the mitral valve is open, blood is drained to left ventricle simultaneously. But further ahead, semilunar valves are not open right now. So in joint diastole, both ventricles keep on filling. Now, SA node generates an action potential which stimulates both the atria to undergo a simultaneous contraction, the atrial systole. See, both the atria contracts. Now, blood flow into the ventricles increases by 30%. What does this mean? It means that 70% of the blood flow from the atria to ventricles has already taken place when the heart was in the state of joint diastole. And this 30% has taken place by atrial contraction right now. Atrioventricular nodes conduct action potential to the ventricular side. To be more specific, the AV node and the AV bundle conducts the action potential to ventricular side. And from here, bundle of His transmits the action potential through the entire musculature. The entire musculature contracts, and this is called as ventricular contraction or ventricular systole. And alongside, atria relaxes, coinciding with the ventricular systole. Due to ventricular contraction, pressure in the ventricles increase. And due to this pressure increase in the ventricles, blood attempts backflow into the atria, and thus tricuspid and bicuspid valve close here with force, which are present in the atrioventricular septum. Now what happens when the pressure is further increased? The semilunar valves force open. Semilunar valves guards the opening of ventricles into the pulmonary artery and aorta, and these semilunar valves now open. Now ventricles contract completely, marking the event of ventricular diastole. And after this, ventricles relax, or we can say that ventricular diastole occurs. See, the ventricles relax, and due to blood present in the aorta and the pulmonary artery, some pressure is exerted on the semilunar valves, and thus they closes just before the ventricular relaxation. During ventricular relaxation, pressure in the ventricles decrease. So the tricuspid and the bicuspid valve also open, because you know that the cuspid valves closed due to the increased pressure in the ventricles, and now when the pressure in the ventricles has decreased, these valves will open. Also, we know that atrial relaxation has already occurred coinciding with the ventricular contraction. So blood keeps on filling inside atria, and now since the tricuspid and the bicuspid valves are also open, blood drains into the atria and also into the ventricles through the cuspid valves. Now heart again moves in the state of joint diastole and waits for the SAN to generate action potential again. And the events are repeated in the same sequence and the same process continues. Now NCERT says one line. This sequential event in the heart, which is cyclically repeated, is called as cardiac cycle, and it consists of systole and diastole of both atria and ventricles. And we have clearly understood how this cardiac cycle functions. Before we move on any further, kindly subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon below and like the video. Now we are going to talk about time duration of cardiac cycle. Heart beats 72 times per minute. So 72 such cycles are completed in 60 seconds. So duration of each cycle is 60 seconds by 72 times. That is 0.8 seconds is the duration of each cycle. Now we talk about volume in a healthy individual. During one cycle, the blood pumped by each ventricle is approximately 70 ml. This is called as stroke volume. To understand, we can call it as volume pumped per stroke. In 1 minute, heart beats 72 times. So, volume of blood pumped by each ventricle in 1 minute is 72 times into 70 ml equal to 5000 ml or 5 liters. This is called as cardiac output. So it is clear that cardiac output is equal to stroke volume multiplied by number of heartbeats per minute. Also, it is important to note that our heart has the ability to alter the stroke volume as well as the heart rates and thereby the cardiac output. For example, the cardiac output of an athlete will be much higher than that of an ordinary man. During each cardiac cycle, two prominent heart sounds can be heard with stethoscope. These two heart sounds are associated with the closure of valves. Which valves? We know there are two types of valves, cuspid valves and the semilunar valves. So, S1, that is love, is heard when the cuspid valves are closed. And the second sound, S2, that is dub, is heard when the semilunar valves are closed with force. For your knowledge, there are two other sounds which are associated with heart, S3 and S4, but they are not heard normally. Thank you. Have a nice day. You can like, share and subscribe. For more such videos, stay connected.